Greetings, I am Jennifer Charles, a one-year MBA candidate from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, by a show of hands, how many watching this can speak another language? Either fluently through immigrant family roots, or even if you remember that foreign language you took way back in high school. That foreign language that was required of us by the school board to take. We often never knew when we were going to use it, but if anyone was like me, I was excited to speak another language anywhere I could. I was telling everyone, hey, because it was cool, refreshing, I felt smart, privileged to know another language. This wasn't my second language, however. My parents are immigrants from Haiti, my mother being from Guanaib and my dad being from Port-au-Prince. Thankfully, they instilled a culture and language in me in which I am proud to represent, right along with my American culture. I remember asking my high school guidance counselor why learning a different language was important. I already knew one. Why learn another one? She replied, Jennifer, the more you know, whether it be education or linguistic skills, it makes you a stronger candidate wherever you go. That sounds about right, right? That sounds like the typical answer you receive when someone talks about learning another language. That you are magically entered into the top candidate pool because you can now communicate with various clients, employees, things of that nature. So picture this. An eager bilingual student, a junior in college, is on her way for her second internship. She landed a Fortune 500 company. Excited to take on corporate America, she was granted with an internship in diversity and inclusion. One day, on lunch, she was conversing with another employee in Creole when another employee told her, don't do that. Confused, she asked, don't do what? The person replied, speak that language. English only here. That girl was me. Now, how do you think it felt hearing that in that moment? I was literally a diversity and inclusion intern for irony's sake. Being succumbed to this treatment, the narrative of knowing somehow that another language was supposed to receive different treatment, I was right, just not in the way I imagined. Linguistic discrimination is an important topic that needs to be discussed. Now, why should you care about a topic that you're probably just now hearing about? Linguistic discrimination should be illegal due to three important things: its negative impact on employee morale, productivity, and turnover. And if somehow that hasn't gotten you on board yet, it also hurts the company's bottom line. It hurts them through lawsuits and defamation cases. Interested yet? Throughout this presentation, I'll be covering why does it matter, the impact of English-only rules on employees, and the impact that it has on companies. By a show of hands, how many even knew linguistic discrimination was a thing? Ever heard of it? So why does it matter? America's workplace is becoming more and more diverse as time passes, and new cultures and languages are being introduced within the company. Although diversity is supposed to be welcomed in the workplace, bilingual employees have been chastised and placed in outgroups if chosen to speak another language on the job. These employees have been told to only speak English here while at work, and it lowers their overall morale. They are potential victims of harassment, and when companies get a plethora of this, they unfortunately have lawsuits. Companies usually advocate diversity and inclusion through employee research groups. These are your typical veterans, African Americans, and women in the company. The list goes on. Now, I am no way knocking the company's diversity and inclusion initiatives. I actually commend them for it. Having a diverse workplace is important, and I believe companies are adequately making strides to increase their efforts to celebrate diversity of their employees and the communities that they actually serve. However, a different shift needs to come. Diversity and inclusion policies are increasingly being created, not only to protect the employees, but the companies themselves. But I'll go into the company later on in the presentation. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 are federal laws that protect individuals from discrimination based upon national origin and race. Language discrimination can be found illegal in some ports under this law, but not all. Convenient, right? Companies can legally enforce English-only rules as long as the rule is not motivated by discriminatory intent. You can imagine how hard it would be for an employee to prove that their employer was acting based off of discriminatory intent. And how many employers do you know would openly admit to being discriminatory? Exactly, close to none. This rule can make exceptional employees leave a company, negatively impact the company brand, and lower employee morale. Linguistic diversity and discrimination around it is going to be a problem within organizations if it's not addressed. The impact of English-only rules on employees hits them in 3 different ways: productivity, turnover, morale. I want to go back to the story I told briefly. I was a junior in college, working for a Fortune 500 company, which I was excited. Working for this company was a goal of mine. However, when I faced this discrimination, I honestly didn't even want to work for them anymore. What I felt before I even started was not the same as what I felt afterwards. I honestly couldn't even tell you how I felt in that exact moment. Only because the only thing that I can seem to remember, the only thing that stuck to me, was a moment where I was exposed to language discrimination. Personally, I didn't feel that I mattered to the company anymore. I noticed a significant difference in my work, and it overall just wasn't good. Now, imagine a well-rounded, educated, vastly skilled employee who faced language discrimination in the workplace. 43% of the world's population is bilingual. However, only 30% of the U.S. population is bilingual. There are a number of employees who speak another language or are from another country. One of the major issues companies are facing is the transfer of training from skilled workers to increase overall job performance. Now, imagine this. A top coder at a tech firm is facing the same discrimination that I felt. But this same employee can instill some knowledge in new employees, hence the training. He speaks to one of his colleagues during lunch in another language and was told the same thing that I was told. We only have an English-speaking rule here. Now, open your eyes. Look at the screen. This shows statistics of employees who leave based on discrimination. And although this was only a scenario, up here is real life. This shows individuals who actually left with all of that knowledge over something that could have been avoided. Now, why did these employees leave? If you answered on fairness, you were technically correct. This graph indicates that these employees are being bullied, publicly humiliated, and even told offensive jokes. As you can see, these employees often feel like they don't even belong in the workplace. And that is what companies love to promote, called inclusion. Things that most companies pride themselves on. Though it seems like something isn't adding up, when employees don't feel included and valued, it causes a high turnover rate, decreases employee morale, and reduces productivity. Now let's talk about good old corporate America. Companies are falling victim to lawsuits that are costing them billions of dollars. Not only are they losing money, but their brands are facing tremendous downfalls. Linguistic discrimination has cost corporate America over $64 billion in defamation and discrimination lawsuit cases. Workplace discrimination complaints, which involved language ability, rose by over 76% from 1997 to 2017 alone. Now, we all know that companies are only as strong as their brand. And if their brand takes a hit, well, so do their pockets. Now again, why should you care? Why should linguistic discrimination be illegal? Other than the obvious morale reasons, we're all human. We all should be appreciated and valued by one another. These backgrounds breed innovation, help us communicate with others, and in turn, make money. So I'll leave everyone with one more thing. We are all different, which is great because we all are unique. Without diversity, life would honestly be boring. So once again, I am Jennifer Charles, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk.